we're all set. Okay, I'd like to call the July meeting of the Public Safety Committee to order. Motion to approve last month's minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, privilege of the floor. Anybody here for privilege of the floor? Privilege of the floor last time? Okay, nobody here for that. Number 1, proposed resolution, confirm appointment, Chautauqua County Fire Advisory Board. Okay. You're here.
I'm Director of Emergency Services. Pretty straightforward. This is, we had one member step down from the Fire Advisory Board from the 3rd Battalion area. And this is a appointment that the person to replace that.
Okay, no, and this person has consented to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, they were at the meeting when they were voluntold to put their name in for it.
When they volunteered, huh? All right, committee questions on this one?
Nope.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay, you're here for the next one, too. All right, this is to authorize standardization of SCBA compressor for Office of Emergency Services.
So as a capital project, we were authorized to purchase 2 SCBA compressors. SCBA's being the backpacks that we wear with air to go into fires and, be able to breathe. We're replacing 2 of those. They're actually relatively specialized pieces of equipment. We currently have 2, and it's our intention to buy 2 of the same so that the continuity of training, operation, agreements of service, maintenance is more streamlined and efficient and not have varying pieces of equipment out there doing the same thing. I understand, I was advised by finance that this would be a good way to do this so that when we come to the bid or purchasing process, it makes that process a little easier to work with as well.
Okay.
So you have 2 now.
We currently have 2. One of these is going in the Taylor Training Center in Jamestown. The other one's going in the Sherman Fire Department, where we've had one for years because many years ago, we put one in there because they would respond to the western half of the county as an air truck. So we already currently have 2 of these, one up at Fredonia Fire Department and the other one at the Fluvanna Fire Department. And these are open to, we use them for our 2 county air trucks. The dive team uses them to fill scuba bottles, and any fire department that needs them, they're open to.
So the older 2 will go to those other 2?
No, the other 2, the 2 that are getting replaced, the Taylor and Sherman, are end of life and non-serviceable anymore.
Gotcha.
They will go to a scrapyard, I would assume.
Okay, so we have 4 now?
When we purchase these 2, we'll have a total of 4.
Gotcha. Okay,
And we'll have 4 identical ones.
correct. The ones we right now are not identical?
No, they were, one was a very old system that was a hand-me-down from another department in the south end of the county. And the maintenance guys have it on life support for the last several years, and there was a computer failure with it, and he's like, I can't even scavenge parts for it. So, yeah, this is a funded capital project to do this.
Thank you.
You all set?
Yes, sir.
Nolan, who advised you to do it this way?
Kitty.
Kitty did, finance?
I was
did?
advised by Kitty and Becky
Okay.
Anderson to do a resolution.
Gotcha. Okay. Committee questions?
Just curiosity, what's an air truck?
So we have 2 trucks that have what we call them a cascade system, very large air bottles in there. So when we're out on a fire scene, the air packs we have approximately 30 minutes of air. I'm lucky if I get 20 out of them. Some smaller statured people might get 30, 35. Tim over there would probably get 45. So when we're on scene, though, we have to refill them to continue working. So those air trucks, we have 2 in the county, a couple fire departments have them. So they come to scene and just refill those bottles so we can continue working.
Tim doesn't breathe a lot.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I might add, this is a very efficient way of dealing with these situations with specialized equipment like this that we've used in the county in other situations. If you put it out to bid and you find another manufacturer whose price may be a few dollars less, then you find yourself, as Noel was saying, with a mixed bag of equipment. You have duplication of spare parts. You have problems with maintenance and service, et cetera. So this is a very efficient way with dealing with this type of specialized equipment.
This way, we're standardized.
You standardize on the
Standardized,
same
more or less.
brand of equipment that you already have so that you can get the efficiency of having the same type of equipment rather than having to buy another brand that may have been a couple dollars less on the bid.
Exactly. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Any other questions on this one, folks?
No, I would just gonna add that it makes sense to train on the same.
Continuity of
You-
training,
right,
you
that-
train,
that's
you
a-
train as you
that-
fight and being
I
able
think
to
that's
have
best for our.
continuity
first
it works good
responders.
for us.
Yeah,
And, the other thing is that, just the contracts and agreement of service, so there's less of those going around and just kind of trying to make it easy on everybody.
Okay. All right, any last questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Mr. Chairman, since the last item on our
I can,
agenda.
you can stay in order. We're not in a hurry.
Okay.
Are you sure? Yeah. Okay. I was thinking the same thing. All right, number 3, proposed resolution authorize acceptance of the gun-involved violence elimination give grant funds for 2024, 2025.
Good afternoon, committee. Madeline Contiguglia for the District Attorney's Office. The resolution that we have for you today is to accept the gun-involved violence elimination give grant from DCJS, the Division of Criminal Justice Services. This grant is a multi-agency grant, so it includes the Jamestown Police Department, the District Attorney's Office, the Sheriff's Office, and the Probation Department. We're looking to authorize the grant, the funds for each of the agencies, excluding Jamestown Police Department. They'll be executing their own contract with New York State. The total award for this year was $682,014. The portion that was Chautauqua County was $420,699. The District Attorney's Office was awarded $298,584. The Sheriff's Office received $95,815. And the Probation Department received $26,300. The grant period runs from January 1st of this year to June 30th of next year. The amounts that we received exceeded the DA's office and the Sheriff's Office 2024 adopted budget. So we would like to amend our budget, and that's below, at the bottom of this resolution. Probation had included the amount for 2024 in their proposed budget for 2024. And then the portion of the funds that is in 2025 will be included in the 3 departments' budgets for 2025. Some background, we've received this grant for a number of years. It's to reduce gun violence particularly, but it's been expanded to reduce violent crime in general. For the DA's office, it funds 1 assistant district attorney that prosecutes these types of crimes. It also funds 50% of an assistant district attorney that prosecutes those types of crimes. It also allows us to attend specialized trainings. We are offering a paid internship through the state with these grant funds to, as part of a community and youth engagement, but also to encourage working in the prosecutorial field. For the Sheriff's Office, it funds a portion of a field intelligence officer for the Sheriff's Office. Also funds specialized details, specialized trainings, and community and youth engagement programs. And for probation, it funds specialized details, trainings, and community and youth engagement.
Okay. Questions?
Mandy, it only says Jamestown in there. Do the other municipalities like Dunkirk and Westfield and
This grant is specifically for Jamestown Police Department, but with our portion, at least for the DA's office, we can offer support to multi-agencies. So we use, in our portion of the funds, trainings for the forensic investigation team, which is multi-agency forensic investigation for major incidents. So that includes police officers from across the county and the municipal agencies. We also have put in for specialized training for homicide investigation, which includes the municipal agencies as well. I just like to add that the budget amendments that we've proposed are budget neutral. They're going to increase our amount, but also increase our revenues for both our office and the sheriff's office.
Okay, committee, other, other questions?
Yeah, just a question. So you got more than you applied for,
We got more than we anticipated.
than you anticipated?
Yes, so
That's a good thing.
that
Good
is
thing. I was
th-
gonna
this
ask how that happened.
the cycle that we
Exactly.
just ended. So we're entering the Give 11 cycle. Give 10, we received much more than we anticipated and that we had received prior years. The governor had put in a lot for public safety last year for this year, so we anticipate receiving similar amounts in the next couple years. DCJS proposed that they're going to evaluate the number of violent crime that we have in the area and then give out the awards based on that. But we expect to receive more than we had been receiving, but we're not sure exactly how much each year.
Okay.
So we were a little conservative with our budget this year, just so that we didn't
Better to
over
do
budget
that way,
for
yeah.
it.
Conservative is good.
That's right.
Okay, committee, questions? Okay, Maddie, thanks. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Maddie. Okay, next, authorize acceptance of New York State reimbursement for the Raise the Age initiative.
Good afternoon. I'm Gilbert Taylor, Director of Probation. We're requesting to accept this Raise the Age money that we already budgeted in the we've budgeted it every year, but it's always a year behind. So in this case, this is to pay back for the 4/1/23 through 3/31 of '24. So we're just trying to recoup the money that we've already invested in. Raise the Age, DSS collects a portion of it, and then this is through our DCJS funding.
Okay, so Gilbert, you've already expended the, the money, and this is to request reimbursement for this?
This is so we can submit our vouchers.
Submit your vouchers,
Yeah.
okay.
Once this is approved at the county, I'll submit the vouchers to the state, and we'll recoup all the money we put into our budget prior
Okay,
to recoup. But the state is really kind of not efficient in this grant.
okay. All right. Committee questions of Gilbert? Gilbert, just one question. Do you anticipate getting the whole 365,000?
We will, for this voucher system, we will be putting in
Right.
for that full amount, yeah, the 365.
Okay. All right. Anything else, committee? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Gilbert, thanks.
Have a good afternoon.
You too. All right, number 5, proposed resolution setting salary for EMS education coordinator.
Noel Gutman, Director of Emergency Services.
Tim Carlson, Senior Paramedic, County EMS.
So in our budget for this year, we had asked, we had a placeholder for a position we had called Project Coordinator. The intent of that position was to be an EMS education coordinator. Currently, we have approximately 300 EMTs in the county, EMTs and paramedics in the county that rely on this CME program. CME is continuing medical education, meaning independent study, attendance at conferences, trainings, and events. All that stuff goes towards their CME hours. All that has to be tracked, monitored, and paperwork done in a system. Every medic has to, currently right now it's 3 years, I believe they're trying to make it 4 years. But every medic has to meet a certain number of hours to maintain their paramedic certification. So that number of 300 is obviously not just those that we have employ within CCMS, but it's within the 42 departments of the county. This person will also be responsible for, the course paperwork for EMT classes, our CPR classes. We call them alphabet classes. They're, ACLS, which is Advanced Cardiac Life Support, PALS, Pediatric Advanced Life Support, CPR, ITLS, which is a trauma course. All those courses are mandated for our paramedic level providers, and some of them are mandated for our EMT providers. So this position is going to be, have a focus on, an intense focus on maintaining, providing scheduling, all of our EMS aspects for, approximately our 300 providers throughout the county. Tim, you want to add anything, or did I?
Currently, the departments pay the county $100 per year per EMT. I believe for paramedics, it's $500 over the course of 3 years. So for a basic EMT, it's $300. Once the provider completes the recertification process, the department can submit a voucher to the state to have the cost refunded to them. So it's kind of a pass-through. They pay us, and then they get the money reimbursed from the state.
We had a part-time individual doing this. That individual, his certification, in order to do this position, you need to have, it's called a CIC, a Course Instructor Coordinator. We had an individual working for us, his certification had expired, and he moved out of state. So we've been Tim and some other guys in the staff have been doing some juggling to make sure our providers are not without their certifications. So this is a really critical position within our office to benefit, the members of the 42 fire departments in the county that are involved with the CME program.
Okay. Folks, questions?
So are you gonna be that guy now, Tim, or no?
No.
You have someone in mind for that job right now?
Yes, we have, I know of one of our paramedics that has got all the requisite certifications and has indicated they are going to apply once this job becomes open. And then that paramedic spot would be backfilled. But this was a funded position within our current year budget.
So we would be hiring a new EMS guy to take his place?
We'd be hiring an EMS education coordinator, correct? And then if that person comes from the ranks, as we expect it will, that position would be backfilled.
No, I got my question. That backfilled, is that by overtime, or?
No,
hiring
that would be another hiring.
No hire. Okay. Committee, further questions?
I guess I'm trying to figure out how has this position been, how's it been getting done without this, just part-time and?
Well, in the absence of the part-time person to do this, it's been me and another person who has stepped up to help out on top of their regular job duties. We have, in the interim, reached out to a person who has the certification in Cattaraugus County to fill in as a contractor in the interim, so we have our permanent solution. It's been working, but it's been very nerve-wracking.
Well, one thing that was a little lucky that did help us, where we didn't have a giant backlog, is during our COVID period, they did extend everybody's EMT certification by 2 years. So that did buy us some time to get on, get this in place, and that helped to not create a giant backlog of providers.
So this will be a new full-time,
Correct.
and it had been historically part-time.
Correct. And just the CME component of itself, with approximately 300 providers, that's a pretty intensive workload just on its own, and we're going to throw more at them. So,
Are those certifications becoming more difficult in New York State?
Yeah, the certified instructor coordinator, there's multiple levels of that certification: BLS, advanced EMT, and paramedic level. This person has to be a paramedic level certified instructor coordinator. It involves auditing a class, teaching a class, and teaching also a paramedic class to obtain this certification. There's few paramedic classes throughout the state, so you have to travel or, beg and fight with other people who are attempting to gain this certification. The CME recertification process for providers is pretty straightforward. There's an online platform that we utilize called Target Solutions with pre-approved, state-approved curriculum on there under certain subcategories that we have to meet a certain hour requirement of each subcategory. It's time involved but it is a lot better than previous, where before this existed, we would have to go in person, take classes, and
And
then take
retest.
the test.
So this is an adult education scenario where, just, adding what Tim said, that, like, for a paramedic, you need, I'm gonna make up some numbers, I don't know off the top of my head, you need 6 hours of cardiac and 4 hours of trauma and 6 hours of pediatrics and 4 hours of general operations, and they have a whole breakdown of everything you have to meet. And providers can meet this by doing what Tim just said, going online and doing these classes, which have a test. You can also, the state has a platform where you can do online stuff and get credit for it. You can go to different conferences. If you go to conferences and do education components there, you have to bring back, an agenda, a certificate, notes that you took, what you got from it. And these are all things that this CME coordinator will put into there and say, nope, you can't go and do something that it really doesn't, it has to be focused on EMS. You can't go just to do a fire drill about doing ladders and add this to this. It has to be a component to EMS, and this part of what this person's job would be is to verify that it meets the requirements and where it goes in that algorithm to meet those standards. That's an extremely important position for our office, and like I said, it's approximately 300 providers across our county.
So they aren't doing the training themselves, they're overseeing
Right.
that people get these trainings and
Yeah,
are certified.
they
and-
compile the paperwork, they have to endorse it, sign off, say that it meets the state's requirements. It's a little bit redundant.
One of the things we're also going to do is they will be doing some of the trainings. We'll host nights at our office or other venues in the county saying, hey, we're going to do a 2-hour night on XYZ topic. And this is 2 hours of CME credit. So anyone that shows up to that would get that credit. This individual would come back, put that into the people's records. And so it's not just sitting in front of a computer to get all your training. It's some hands-on, some classroom, some other didactic skills.
And,
They're an instructor.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And this person doesn't necessarily have to be the one teaching the class.
They might bring
just
in
have to be the one that-
experts to do it.
Yeah, they have to be the one that endorses it.
Yeah.
So that makes sure it meets the criteria of what the state requires for that subcategory.
But Tim, they'll have the qualifications. They can teach.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yep,
Okay.
they can do both.
So different fire departments can say, Silver Creek and Dunkirk and Clymer can come and say, we need training on this. Can you
Yep.
coordinate a class for?
Yep.
Those are all things we could do.
They would
Yep.
arrange that.
Yep. Also, this person will be, he mentioned the EMT class. We have what's called a course sponsorship through the state that has its own set of rules and regulations that we have to be compliant with. It is our intention to have this individual be the administrator for that, to make sure that they are like the liaison between the education department of the Bureau of EMS and our office to ensure that we're doing things appropriately and correctly. and really
With the state.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
And provide a as
Yeah.
good, well-rounded EMS education.
Okay. Guys, this is a local share, right? Noel and Tim? There's no state or federal funding for this position.
Some of it would be funded from what from the CME aspect, would be funded from what the departments pay us up front, which is, I described.
That would help pay for the target, the online component and stuff. But the
Yeah, and the EMT class reimbursement, the cost,
But,
our classes are,
but that's negligible, right, compared to what it costs for this position full-time? Pretty
correct.
much?
Probably, yes.
Okay. Guys, look, we've been reluctant to create full-time positions in the past. If something is needed, of course, we'll take a look at it. Human Resources has looked at this position and they feel that
Yes.
that it should be, that it's needed and it should be full-time?
Yes.
As do you.
Yes.
As do
100%.
each one of you.
Without this, without getting this, we are going to cripple the ability for EMTs and paramedics to stay certified.
Okay. No, I don't know about cripple because we had a part-time person doing it before, but certainly it would adversely impact it.
I stand by it. It would be on the path to crippling it. It would be very detrimental to our
Okay.
EMS providers and their educations to be able to do the jobs that we need them to do.
And I know
All right.
that the state is requiring more and more and more training year after year after year, which it's difficult now to get people to volunteer to do these things with all the requirements that are mandated on
A
them.
paramedic course right now is approximately 18 months. An EMT course, depending on how they run it, is 3 to 6 months, depending on how many nights a week they do it. And we need to have a path for people to be able to easily maintain those certifications once they put the hard work in for it.
The EMT class is now 120 hours or
Roughly.
roughly?
Yeah, they've changed it. Off the top of my, I don't know that number off the top of my head. I know
It
it's.
might even be 150
I
now.
think it's
Yeah.
160.
160?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, they keep adding to it for sure.
When I took it, it was 60. Just 60. That was years ago, but
What were ambulances like then?
Pulled by
horse.
They
horses.
didn't happen to be old hearses, did
horse
they?
and buggy, I
Or
think.
you learn how to put on a tourniquet.
It was
that's
a
about
long time ago. Okay. All right, but you guys stand by the fact that you feel you need a full-time position?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't come here easily any time asking for any FTEs. I understand the implications of that, but I 100% fully support this needs to be a position to benefit our 42 departments and all the people in our county that rely on our EMS services.
Okay. Committee, any other questions?
No, like you said, I'm reluctant when it's a full-time position,
am too,
but it's a public safety matter, so I think it's necessary.
You guys have made your case well, so. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we're on to other. Does the committee have anything to come under the heading of other? Okay, if not, I have just one thing. Last month, we discussed the animal control officer. I did talk to Sheriff Quattrone today. He did send a deputy to Albany for training. And we have had some talks with some of the various stakeholders. Nothing definite, nothing resolved yet, so those talks are ongoing. Okay, is there anything else that anybody can think of? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, committee. All right, Robert. 4:30.
I knew I could count on you.